previous lecture, we understood about the basic collection framework, which is RDD and the data frame. To extend the same discussion, let's look at two basic operations in RDD. They are called transformations and actions. Transformation will create a new dataset from an existing one and shows the result to the user when an action is triggered. For example, let's say we perform one operation which is called as a map operation. Map is a transformation operation, but you won't be able to see any result if you implement the map method in your code. Until and unless you perform an action which is count or save as an RDD or save as a file, you won't be able to see any output before that. Spark transformations are like a manual book. It will not execute immediately. Actions are the functions which trigger the transformations code execution. Let's say if you have 5 lines of code written in Spark only with the transformation, and if you execute it, nothing will happen and you won't be able to see anything. You need to have action written in your code to execute bunch of transformations. We'll cover this point again in the future programming sections. Here are a couple of methods from transformation and action operations. So transformation consists of map, join, union, distinct, repartition, collage, flat map, group by key, sort by key. All these are the transformations. And actions covers reduce, take, collect, take sample, count, and so on. So unless and until you don't have action in your code, let's say you implemented 5 lines of functions which is transformation functions, you won't be able to see any output until and unless you perform an action. So let's say you read a file and then you perform a distinct operation to get one of the column. And if you print that, you won't be able to see anything. The reason being, it is just a transformation. It is not an action. When you say count or when you say collect or when you say take from the action operation, you will see the execution which happens on the transformation. To distinguish between transformation and action, there is very thin line in between. So when it is called as a transformation, when a new RDD is created from an existing one, whereas in case of action, only a result or an output will be generated. So when it is a new RDD creation, make sure you will understand it as a transformation, and when there is a new output getting generated, you will understand as an action. This is the reason why transformations are called as an lazily evaluated functions. Transformations are lazy in nature, which means they are started when an action is triggered. These functions make Spark to run more efficiently. This feature is implemented in Spark intentionally to give more power to Apache Spark. By this way, Apache Spark will execute your code much faster and in a cleaner way. So there is concept called an predicate pushdown, which is again an implementation to outperform the execution of Apache Spark. We are going to learn about each and every single methods and the functions from transformation and action families in detail with example in the later sections. For now, just make sure that you have enough understanding about transformation and actions. Now if we look at the entire ecosystem of Apache Spark, we can see that there are multiple modules. The first and the base one, which is Apache Spark Core API, which we are extensively going to cover in entire this module. And then on top of it, there are Spark SQL, Streaming, AMLEAD, and GraphX. These are the other modules created on top of Apache Spark Core API. Again, we are going to extensively work on Apache Spark Core API for this entire module, and we will park SQL, Streaming, and other modules for the later sections.